Back with another video. Today I'm going to show you guys how I style my greenhouse cabinet, and all of these are just ideas or suggestions that I like to use when I'm styling plants. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just how I like to do it. Some of the choices I make are based on the particular needs of each plant, and some of the choices I make are purely aesthetic, but here is how I start. It's about that time that I need to clean and wipe down my greenhouse cabinet, so I started by wiping down the outside and the shelves and corners of it. It's really important that I can't see any water stains from watering plants or from misting plants, because it ends up looking kind of icky. Plus, this was the first time I had Windex in a really long time, so it felt really satisfying to get in there and just wipe it all down. And that's it. It's looking a lot more clean. So I'm gonna start with this top shelf. I guess I wouldn't even really be able to call it a shelf because it's just the top of the greenhouse, but if there's a surface, there needs to be a plant on it. I generally like to style shelves with similar genuses of plants because I like to show the variety that plants can have within one particular genus. So these are my two largest cacti, and then I like to add in this lemon lime philo because it was like a pop of color. I then started to layer this smaller cactus in front. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this is my cactus collection, or at least part of it. So I added this ripsalis because it added some texture and it was a different type of jungle cactus. I had to throw in some knickknacks and then this little succulent in water because I am just a knickknack guy. I really like tiny things and I can't explain it, and neither can anyone else on the internet that likes tiny things. Oh yeah, and so I definitely rearrange things a lot when I'm styling a shelf, because I just like to see how things look and sometimes rearrange the layers. So I ended up sort of making it in this like pyramid triangle shape because I liked how it gave the illusion of the shelf being a lot taller than it is. Oh yeah, this clip was from another time after I had chopped my hair. I like to call this my terracotta shelf because that's really the only thing that they have in common with each other. But sometimes I really love the way that it looks when you have a bunch of different types of plants in similar pots, because it really just accentuates the differences between them and shows the textures better, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm using a technique that I learned from my dance training, which is basically just staggering, using the windows between plants to show all of them. Yeah, I think spacing is really important because one, a lot of the plants need access to light, and two, you just want to be able to see all of them. So this is how I styled my terracotta shelf. This next cluster of plants is a lot of my high humidity and terrarium style plants. Some of them are sort of similar and others are just kind of random. But I started with the largest plants first because you want to see sort of the space that's left over or what the general shape of the setup is going to be like. So I added these two cloches. I like how they are varying in height, and added a couple other terrarium plants and high humidity plants. And I ended up doing this shelf sort of in an incline shape, I guess I could say. Basically, it's getting taller to one side. this shelf is kind of like a bunch of random plants that I didn't necessarily have homes for, but somehow made sense together. It's mostly a bunch of Hoyas and random propagations that I have. I just kind of need somewhere to store them. So there isn't really necessarily any method to this madness, I guess I can say. So there you have it. This is my Hoyas and props. A random junk shelf, in my opinion, which is just like a bunch of leftover plants. And last but not least, we have my moss poles, which are a shelf I like to call my tall guys. So I decided to put them on the bottom of my greenhouse because if I need to add on a moss pole later, I can have some room to do so by rearranging the shelves. And I also just kind of liked that it mimics the length and the tallness of the shelf starting from the bottom. So a lot of these plants I had to make a lot of room for, and it makes sense to me that they are on the bottom. I change it quite often because I get bored, and also I always have to Windex it. But this is how I style my greenhouse. I would love to hear in the comments some of the ways that you style plants or some of the tools that you use to style your greenhouse. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the discount codes in the next slide. Bye!